Okay, so welcome everyone to today's masterclass. Today is basically one of the sales bootcamp that we have we organize with academia. I'll just do a quick introduction of academia for those of us that weren't in the induction ceremony. So academia is the education arm of StratPal that basically educates and creates education programs and create boot camps for codes and no code trainings for those who are looking to transition or build capacity for their current role. So for the GTST of right now, we are trying to build capacity for every single member of the GTST of, like we mentioned last week, that um, part of the core focus of the GTST hub is to drive revenue growth for organizations, tech startups, and be it in the traditional sector or tech startups or FMCG companies, educational companies that are looking to build their brand or looking to drive client acquisition for their organization. So that is one of the major focus for GTST Hub. So, and for you to be able to help drive that goal for this company means that you need to have all the skills that is required to be an excellent salesperson. So without further stories, my name is Comfort Olatunde, and I'm the founder of StratPower. And today we're having an amazing person who has been one of the backbone of StratPower, and also the director of business, director of sales and partnerships B2B for StratPower. So he is the best person for this training because he is basically the person driving sales and a partnership acquisition for StratPower. All the amazing products that we have, all the amazing clients that we have is the should I say chief cornerstone behind most of all of our initiatives, and he's been doing excellently well managing the team as well managing amazing clients as well. So today's topic is quite interesting for me because it's it's a major aspect of sales that a lot of people do not prioritize. So that is why we don't want to take you through a lot of boring conversations. We just want to hit the nail on the head. Then definitely as we go, we would be going into some other core aspect of sales and some technical and practical and hands-on approach to sales as well. But today, we want to let you know about how you prospecting and lead generation, especially in the B2B sector. So I have someone asked the question, what is B2B? So I hope the person is here. So if the person is not here, I don't know why the person isn't, because on this call, you would learn everything that you need to learn about what a B2B is, and as well as how you can drive client acquisition and sales for a B2B product or a B2B company. So if you're working in a company that basically produce work that has products that is only used by organizations, not individuals like you and I, but actually organizations, just like what the example Chidozie made in the group, where, for example, StratPal is selling to MoneyPoint. So we're not selling to an individual in MoneyPoint. We were selling to the company. So we're serving the company, but not an individual. So how do we get to MoneyPoint? How do we get there? How do we get to those specific clients that we are looking for? So, and what do you need to do to even know who you are going to be selling to, and where do you find them, and how do you find them, and how you can actually get all of those things done. And tomorrow's session is an amazing one as well. So understanding the buyer's journey. So prospecting, you cannot prospect without actually understanding the buyer's journey. But like I said, so you need to understand even the fundamentals before you can start, driving those conversions, leveraging the buyer personas and their journey around the web and around other platforms that they engage in. So, without further stories, I would like you to join me in welcoming Israel Ayodele. Israel, over to you. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. I know you're very busy. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Good evening, everybody. I hope you can hear me clearly. Please let me know if you can. Is my audio perfect? Is it smooth?
Yes, I can hear you clearly.
Okay, great. Thank you very much for confirming that. Hi, good evening, everybody. Thank you very much for a wonderful founder for the warm introduction with everybody here today. And I just think before we continue, before I go ahead, I'm just going to say that I'm not looking to do the typical, or we're not, the today's session isn't going to be where I share slides because I'm not going to do that. It's not a session where we share or we talk about or I talk about theoretical things or use a lot of terms and tell you a lot of things you're doing wrong. Today's session is just going to be sharing some personal experiences, sharing things I have done or strategies I have done or been able to employ in my journey and how it has been useful for me. And I want to believe and I sincerely hope that it is useful for everybody on the call so that we're able to pick maybe a few things or a few details that could further enhance our journeys and could further enhance our um, um, I like to call it business development journey. I sometimes don't like to call it sales, but then whatever it is we call it, either sales, either tech sales, either business development, either partnerships or growth, whatever the terminology we're looking to call it. I hope that our conversation today or today's session is able to help add, some more spices or some more interesting dynamics to whatever it is that we all are doing. So, my name is Israel Ayodele, and I have over 10 years experience working with organizations. I kind of like do a lot of things. So I've been able to work across multiple areas, multiple fields, operations, business development, partnerships, product development, product management, product design, a lot of things. And this has helped me understand how to look at a business entirely. So I can think about or look at a business from a very holistic point of view that is devoid of focusing on just one area. So I've been able to, based on my experience, based on how I've been able to work, how I like to work, I don't see. I see interconnections in fields as long as it's a business. I personally believe, I have a personal belief that whatever anybody might be doing in a business, even if it is even engineering, everybody has a collective responsibility to make sure that the company, the organization, the product grows. Because if there isn't growth, then it means it's a roller coaster. It goes down to everybody probably won't get paid when we're not able. The business is unable to sustain itself, which we've been seeing a lot in the particularly the tech ecosystem right now, and businesses have to shut down because there isn't enough revenue, there isn't enough growth, there isn't enough sales, as they call it, there isn't a lot enough business development. So sometimes it is often said or looked at as, oh, okay, this responsibility is solely on the revenue and growth fields or career paths or skills. That could be product marketing or sales, business development. But then I personally believe that looking at an organization, it is solid, or it is best to think of it as everybody in that organization is looking to achieve the same goal, which is to make sure that this business and this company succeeds. And at the end of the day, we're able to drive growth collectively, whatever it is we're doing, even if it is customer success. Because if we are getting leads, we are converting the leads, and then like we come paying customers or paying clients, and then we begin to experience churn because customer success is not doing great, or they are not giving their best to it. It affects the entire process, the entire funnel, the entire pipeline. So I have been able to work on so many things or work in so many fields to be able to have that holistic view. So I'm going to be sharing my experiences with us today. And like I mentioned initially, today's session isn't going to be that session where I share my screen and I share a deck, and then we go through a lot of terminologies and I tell you, this is what you're doing wrong, this is what you should be doing. I believe that a lot of us have experiences. So I'm not going to be talking to us as though we do not have the experience, or as though I have all of the experiences, or I know what is best. I don't know what is best. I am only going to share what I think, what has worked for me, and I hope that we're able to pick from those things, and then we're able to apply them, and it works. It works for a lot of us. So I think I would go ahead to say that before we go deeper, it is important to note or to understand that a business or the business environment. I think I remember back when I was in business school, my lecturer would tell me or would tell us in the class back then that a business environment is always dynamic, and I'm sure that we all can attest to the fact that business environments are dynamic. We've been in the revenue and growth, let me put it that way, field. So because I believe everybody here has done a lot of work in that space, and you know that it is dynamic. There today you're looking to hit a target, and then it is looking as though, oh, there is green light, and then you have a target of $100,000 or 200,000 USD or 300,000 USD, and one deal could give you, I mean, just over 50% of that, and then it is looking great, and then you spent 2 3 months on that deal, almost about to close out, and then at some point you get to hear from your prospect that we're unable to continue because there has been this challenge or that challenge. It may not be that you didn't do your work great. It may not be that they didn't like what you were pitching to them or what you were telling them, but essentially it could just be because they had some downtimes in their own organization, or some economic down situations that they could not avoid, and they had to back down or back out of that deal. So it is a very dynamic environment. There are times where you would least expect something to come out of this. In fact, there are times where I have been in conversations with clients, and then I'll be like, oh, okay, we're about to do this, and then we've gotten to the stage where we probably need to sign a contract or sign an SLA, and then there's a sudden U-turn, and that client or that prospect turns out to be somebody that refers someone else, or they refer another organization, and then the deal I was supposed to close with that person, I closed with another person because of the influence of that prospect at that time. So it is a very dynamic ecosystem. And I'm sure we all have experiences, like I mentioned initially. I know that we have some of us we currently work with organizations. Some of us have worked with some organizations before. Some of us has done we've done some consulting. A lot of us have probably closed a lot of high tickets, or we have closed big ticket deals, or big deals. So we have the experiences. And then I like to also say that um, a lot of the factors that could affect not being able to succeed at a deal, essentially, or maybe you're trying to push a product towards product market fit, or towards revenue generation. A lot of it sometimes may not be because we're not doing great, or we're not doing the best we could at that time. It is just that the economic situations, the environment, there are loads of factors that could be that could affect that endeavor, that effort at that time. So, but then today's session is to help us look at things from almost like the basics, the most important things, the core things, and that is looking at how we start by getting prospects, how we even start the process at all. I'm sure we probably have ideas on how what sales funnels can be, or what business strategy or sales strategy can be. We know the terms and the buzzwords, so to say. But then, for me personally, in my career, in my own in all of the partnerships, the deals I've worked on, or whatever it is I've worked on, I have two major principles that has worked for me. And the first is to always know my customer, to always know my leads, to always know my prospects. I make sure that I don't go into conversations, into meetings, into discussions, or even meet a prospect blind. I want to have all of the information I can have about that prospect, about that organization, about what they're working on, what they've worked on in the past, what they like, what that individual fancies, or it's not in a creepy way, but then it is important that the person you're going to speak with, you have an understanding of who that person is, who the organization, or what the organization does, the persona of the organization itself, the culture of the organization, the culture of that person, and then the second thing, for me, apart from making sure that I never go into a meeting, into a conversation blind. Um, the second most important thing, to me, pardon me, the second most important thing, to me, in every situation, or in every product, or deal process, is to make sure that I see everybody I am going to speak with, every organization I am going to speak with, as though they are selling to me, or they are pitching to me. I like to call it pitching, that I am pitching to you. I am pitching whatever it is I'm trying to have a conversation about. I'm pitching it to you. I don't like to call it sell, because there is this notion that has been tied around. Hey, this is what this is. I have a pencil. I want to sell this pencil to you. My major goal is to give out that pencil to you. And at the end of the day, I don't care so much if it fulfills or it gives you the value you're looking for, or if it allows you to do what you need to do with that pencil. I just want to make sure that, for me, I have a goal. My goal is to make revenue. My goal is to get conversion. My goal is to hit a target. So I just dump whatever it is I have. I dump it on you. As long as I can find a spot somewhere, I just, hey, you have this opportunity, dump it, take this. This I think is good. I'm able to convince you, and I sweet talk you into a deal, and then you get into it, and then after that I get away. So sales entirely is not like that. It doesn't mean that it is that way. That's not what it means. But I personally prefer to just approach it from me looking at it as though I am pitching to you, which ultimately brings me to that core part for me of partnership. So I see every individual, every organization, every deal as a partnership process. As I am working with that organization, I am partnering with them. Even if I am going to say, even if at the end of the day, maybe the service I am pitching to you might be that I want to pitch even an electrical service. Like we perhaps I work with an organization. I'm working on a deal that would allow me take an entire complex, and then my company or my organization can undo everything from I mean everything around the electrical system for that building or for that complex. For me, that's a partnership, because I want to make sure that I reflect what the person or what that organization needs. And as humans, we need to understand that the human emotions is very valid. You look at it from a personal point of view. If I was to be buying this thing, or if I was to be in the position where I want to pay for something, how would I prefer to be spoken to? How would I prefer to be addressed? How would I prefer, what would I prefer you say, or you were communicating to me that would help me say, oh, give me my money? In fact, I had an experience yesterday where we were having a conversation as a prospect, and then immediately it was like, oh, hey, I mean, just go right ahead and let us get into this. And I like to put myself into the point where I want to make sure that if you were talking to me, or if somebody was selling something or trying to pitch something to me, I want that person to know, to have an understanding of what I need before even saying, hey, this is how I want it. Because I like to imagine, again, this is a personal perspective for me, and I hope that maybe it works for a number of us here. But I personally, for example, if I want to go to a tailor, I don't like saying I have to go through the internet and then I have to look for X amount of styles, and then I say, hey, do it to this, and can you? I have to worry about, hey, can this person do it to this taste, or can you do it to this, or are you sure that? I just want to give you that material. I just pay you. I say, hey, can you do a clothes for me that will look great on me? And then you say, yes, no problem. And then I want you to use your creativity. And at the end of the day, I want you to wow me. So I don't want to get stressed over something. I don't want to be doing your job for you. I don't want to get stressed over something that you promise or you say you can deliver value on. So I like to put myself in that scenario. And then I like to assume that every prospect I'm going to be meeting as that need. So I make sure that I simplify my communications with them, and I break everything down so that it is very, very, very easy and it is able to match the value you're looking for. Now, how do I get this, or how do we get to even understand what humans might, what this person might want, the person I've never met before, I have never had an interaction with before? That is where research goes in. So research for me personally is a very, very key thing. The people I work with in my organization, other organizations that I work with, people that I worked with before, they can attest to the fact that I like, when it comes to research, I like to take my time to do proper research. I want to understand what that organization does. I want to understand what that individual does. I want to understand what value you're looking for. Here is an example. Somebody somewhere might be building a fintech product, and then they want to sell that fintech product. Now, the person might have been in business for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. The person might even be somebody that has been in the revenue and growth space and has a lot of experience in marketing, has a lot of experience in maybe sales or business development, and the person understands all of the buzzwords, understands what to do, but is just looking for somebody to go ahead and do execution. Then I am here and I tell you, hey, I can help you take this product to market, essentially do everything around building, I mean, working with you from this stage of it not being in the market yet, or being not even being market ready, taking it to the market, finding product market fit for you. Now, in that situation, I need to understand how that person thinks, or what is more important for the person. What might be, the person might be focused on, I am looking to gain a lot of traction so that I can raise funds and get investment so I can push my product faster. Or the person might be, I want to bootstrap, I want to build revenue. First of all, I want this product to sustain itself so that it can pay for things. You can from the product, we can hire people, we can do a lot of things, and then maybe in the next 3 years down the line, that is only when I want to bring investors on board, or maybe I never want to even get to bring investors on board. That might be that person's priority, or that person's goal, or that founder's vision. And then if I do not understand who that person is based on past experiences, how do I know past experiences? The person probably worked in organizations before. Then I try to look at the programs or the ideas or the work the person did in time past. I mean, social media, LinkedIn in particular, helps us to do a lot of those. I mean, you're able to do that research by looking at the undertone of the post the person likes, or the undertone of the person writes a post. By someone's post, you will be able to determine, oh, okay, this is how this person thinks through things, or this is how this person believes, or this is this person's perspective. This person is more revenue oriented, and then this other person is more investment oriented, and then the person, perhaps this person believes in, okay, let us gain just numbers and traction and do user adoption now, just so that we can raise funds, and then after some time we can now begin to look beyond this current market and we can expand. And maybe the person talks a lot about expansion. There are so many indicators that you can see that gives you an insight into, oh, this person, this is how this person works. So for me, I make sure that I invest a lot of time and a lot of effort into understanding the person I am going to be meeting. That's part of my prospecting um, 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 structure or prospecting process. Now, I am sorry that I may be jumping back and forth. That I hope that we were able to follow me or follow through. Like I mentioned, this is more like coming from a personal experience for me, and then I'm sharing my own personal experiences based on what has worked for me, and then so there is no document anywhere. I'm not looking through maybe screens or something. So please pardon how my thoughts might be going. But then I already talked about how it is very important to understand this perspective. Now, how do we find? For me, I would say again, how do I know this is the right prospect for me, or this is the right lead, or this is the right individual, or this is the right organization to pitch to or to talk to about partnering with them and working with them to execute what they want? Because at the end of the day, even if it is a road construction, it is an execution. The goal is that we have a smooth road. The goal is not that, hey, I just want to make $10,000, $100,000, or $200,000, or 10 million naira, or 500 million naira, and then, oh, the deal size is very huge. That's not the goal entirely. The goal because at the end of the day, you have to think about it. The person that is going to pay for that service or that is going to pay for that road construction is going to be bleeding cash. No matter how much the person has money, we have to understand that nobody on earth likes to part away with money when they are not sure of the value they are going to get from it. So there's a reason why sometimes they say, oh, this person is a billionaire, this person has millions of dollars, but the person is unwilling to spend so and so amount of money on this. That's because as humans, we have a natural instinct to never let go of things entirely, except for if maybe the person is being wasteful. But if the person is a very, very prudent person, you don't want to just release your resources without being sure of you getting value from it or for it. So even if it's a huge ticket and for you it's a win, for the person that is paying, however the person is paying, even if there's a projection that, oh, at this X amount of value or returns to get from this, always note that the person at some point had a doubt in their mind that, maybe this might not work. Maybe what if we don't get the value we're looking for? What if they are unable to deliver as much as they want to? So there is at some point that person or those individuals or people somewhere in a board room, they have discussed and they have thought through all of the scenarios. What if we fail? What if they fail? What if this initiative fails? What if this service fails? What if what we're paying for doesn't work out well? Then the person decides, okay, let us go, regardless of the risk. Let us go ahead. So you have to always have that in mind. So before going up ahead to say you approach somebody or we look at the organization that we are probably going to talk to, we want to partner with, like I mentioned, partnering with them. I personally like to see it as a partnership with you because I want to ensure that I mirror what you are looking to achieve, the goals you're looking to achieve. I used the example of the road. The goal would be that we want a smooth road. Maybe an individual doesn't just want he or she hates potholes. You don't want to get into potholes when you're going into your house, for example, and you want to lay asphalt on that road, just the road that leads into your own house. That's convenience for that person. That's a vision, or that is a value the person is looking to achieve. So I must make sure that if I'm going to be telling you or I'm pitching to you, I want to work with you to help you bring this vision to life, I must ensure that I mirror and I give you the satisfaction and the value that you're looking for. So looking for these people or looking for your ideal prospect or your ideal lead. And again, I think I should mention that we can never say this is an ideal audience or an ideal target market, or we can make projections. We can, I believe we can always say, this is what it is. But then because of the dynamism of life itself, of the business environment, of the economy, whatever country, it's not peculiar to any country, it's not peculiar to any continent, whatever diversity, whatever dynamic the nature might be, we always have to have it in mind that everybody we're going to be approaching in those environments, in those places, they are aware of these dynamisms as well. So if we're looking at saying we want to target okay, I think pardon me, I lost my thought a little bit. I think I was talking about how please let me know if you still can hear me though. I just want to be sure that you can hear me. You can type in the chat just to let me know that you still can hear me. So I was saying that for open and believing that you can hear me, um, I was talking about the aspect of saying the dynamic nature of every market, every industry, and we can never say, okay, great, thank you very much. We can never say this is an ideal market. We can only make projections, and then we hope that it turns out the way we're hoping for it to be. So if we're looking at it from that angle, we can make projections, we can make plans and say we want to target, say, for example, I think during our induction ceremony, someone mentioned that it works with one of the power generating or generation companies in Nigeria. So for that individual, for that person that works with that organization, you you your target audience, your ideal target audience would be every Nigerian, because we have power issues in Nigeria, for example. This is not to, you know, I mean, go into, probably some political arguments or whatnot, but the markets in, ideal, so to say, the projected market belief or construction or scenario would be that everybody in Nigeria needs power, and everybody is looking for a stable power supply. So then it means that power generating or companies that manufacture all of this power generating sets or electronics or devices or whatnot, we might call it, should be able to sell to Nigerians. So it is technically supposed to be a mass market. But then again, you look at it, there are so many considerations, so many factors. First of all, the income level of the people we're going to speak with, or we're looking at um, targeting, or the income. Because if you, for example, you're saying that a generating set probably costs 10 million, 12 million naira, or 15 million naira, and then someone who probably makes minimum wage per month is definitely not going to be able to afford that. So if the person is unable to afford that, the person can definitely not afford maintenance, because for you as an organization, apart from, after you've sold that huge device, you want to continue to have cash inflow. So it means that you should be able to work a deal with whomever you're selling it to, that, hey, we'll be coming, regularly to maintain your generating set for you, so you can pay us so and so amount of money, because it gives your company, a steady revenue, and that's a steady inflow. Even if you're unable to sell generating sets for the next 2 or 3 months, you know that the revenue from maintenance still keeps the company or the organization afloat. But then the other factor would be, would the person you're selling to, or the audience we're looking at, would they be able to pay for that? Then it narrows the entire audience down for us. The mass, so to say, mass market, it narrows it down for us. Then we now go down into the cost of actually running devices. Diesel is expensive now. How many people can afford to pay for diesel to run their generating sets for 12 hours in a day or 18 hours in a day? Then it reduces the audience for us, or the target market, so to say. So it moves away from this is a general problem, this is a big problem that affects this entire country. So where instead of saying 2 billion people in so and so continent are having power outages, then the purchasing power gradually reduces the target market for us. So by the time we go deeper and we eliminate all of the scenarios, we discover that we have just a handful of individuals or people, organizations that can really pay for this service, or that can really pay for this product. So using those details, sometimes statistics or data could help in arriving at that. But then now, once you have even been able to do that, narrow down, you've been able to break down your focus on, just a handful of people that you believe can pay. I personally, for example, let's take the example of someone who is going to do generating set. And there are two potential audiences that you like, sub audiences or whatever we want to call it. First, you can sell generating sets to organizations, you can sell generating sets to individuals. So if we're looking at organizations, I personally find B2B very, very interesting. A lot of people say, oh, B2B is the most difficult thing. I mean, it is the most difficult thing for a business development person or someone in revenue and growth to do. It's a lot of work and etc. But I personally find it much more interesting. It's more fun for me to work on a B2B deal than maybe B2C or maybe B2 many, whatever terminologies one might want to say. That's just a personal perspective for me, because I find it easier, because it instead of me having to worry about 1,000 people, of course somebody will definitely have to still do the B2B, I mean B2C and B2M, which I have done, which I am still doing. But then I just personally find it easier to say, oh, okay, I can narrow down to businesses. These are the businesses I am looking at after doing all of my research. I mean, all of my eliminating so and so factors and looking at these parameters and blah blah blah, and using some statistics to eliminate and break down the target, the real target market, or the total addressable market, whatever we might want to call it. So for me, I find it more interesting because it involves partnerships. Like I said, I love to look at every deal process, even with customers. Even if it's a B2C, I always prefer to make sure that it is, I mean, to look at it from the angle that it is a partnership with everybody I'm going to be interacting with. So if it's for businesses, I personally have also, like I said, please pardon the fact that I'm saying personally, I'm saying all of this because I am sharing my own personal experiences, perspective with everybody, so that um, as much as it might not be the conventional way, or sometimes it might be different from everyone's perspective, I want to make sure that at the end of the day, you are able to understand how I probably might have been able to do a number of things, and hopefully that is helpful to everybody here, and it helps you to achieve the goals that you might want to also achieve in your own career path. So back to what I was trying to say. Sorry. So I was saying that for me, if I'm going to look at businesses, I go straight to the decision makers. Of course, there are times where we say, "Oh, okay, everybody is going to be useful at I mean, in your journey." But here is what I've come to realize, because I've worked in organizations before. I've worked in organizations where I've held leadership roles, I've had C-suite roles, I've heard director roles and whatnot, and senior level roles, where I am super close to the people that are making decisions. Sometimes I am in the meetings where these decisions are made. My opinions are considered in making these decisions. There are times where I am delegated to take the final decisions, and there are times where, for my own personal organization, businesses that are built, I've been able to make the decisions eventually. And like I said, I've been able to work in almost every field that could be, you could think of in an organization, customer support, everything else. And I've been able to understand that at the end of the day, the decision maker is still the decision maker. The person who is going to shell out the money is the decision maker. The person who is going to give the final approval is the decision maker. Regardless of if we go through this director, or if we go through that director, the person will still need to get approval from this and that. Of course, there are times where it is easier to go through this people. For example, you are approaching and again, it is very important to look at the kind of organization. This is B2B now, the kind of organization you're looking at. I wanted to talk a little bit about B2B because I think I am aware that somebody wanted to understand B2B. I think after my analogy, I would address that. So if we're looking at B2B, there are times, say for example, there is this company that has 5,000 employees and the CEO or the chairman is extremely busy before you can even get to see him. I've been in those scenarios where I'll be, hey, I need to see this person, and then I go to meetings and he has thousands of employees, and then before you even get to have a meeting, you're being scheduled for 15 minutes meeting, whereas this person is supposed to make decisions. And before you go through the pitch or you go through the discussions, time is over, and then you say, okay, meet me, let's talk again some other time, give him a date and a time, and he's not even aware because he doesn't come, I mean, or he or she, because it can be either gender, so it's not specific to just one gender. So he or she might say, hey, um I have my this person manages my calendar, and then talk to that person, and he or she may not even be aware that they are at that meeting at that time. So, but when you're trying to get into conversation with this kind of people, it could be super helpful to get the next person that makes has a significant foothold of decision making in that organization to be on your side. So even though you might be talking to the senior, the highest person that would do the final, okay, let us do it, sign it off. At that instance, that person would also rely, because that person has a lot of things they're thinking about. They're thinking about how to close millions of dollars in deals, billions of dollars in deals, and the person will probably not be worrying so much about we want to buy generating sets for 10 offices that would cost maybe about 500,000 USD at the end of the day. That's an expense to him or to that organization, to he or she who is the owner of that organization. So somebody would definitely be the one in charge, but he or she, that's the founder, the chairman, the CEO, whatnot, would just be the person that gives final approval. In that instance, that person would be like, what do you think? Have you gone through it? Do you think it's a good deal? If you think it is a good deal, no problem. But then you need to. So it's a dual game. Let me call it a dual game, because at that point you need to make sure that you appeal to the person who is going to do the. What do you think about it? Is it a good deal? No problem. You need to appeal to that person. At the same time, you need to appeal to identify the next short caller, the person that does when I say short caller now, not in the bad way, but then the person that does define that can say, okay, I can approve this on behalf of this person, or the person that is giving the instructions to go ahead and disburse the money. So that person, those two people are the most important, or your MVPs in that organization, in that deal, and you must focus on them. You must ensure that you appeal to them, you approach them. So whatever it is you're going to do, whatever you're going to go through at the end of the day, put your eyes on those two. I don't know how they call them in chess or whatnot, but then those two MVPs, let's call them MVPs now. They are the people that would help you achieve your goal eventually. So that is for B2B. And then but then for B2C, or for other customers, or even B2 many, sometimes as they may call it, appeal, I mean, prospecting individuals goes down to pain points and values for me in my personal experience. For example, I say, I want to sell to, there is this fintech product. I first of all look at, because like I said, I have been able to work across every of the field. I have been able to function in so many roles, so not just in sales or in business development, but then I look at the product itself. The first thing for me is the product I'm going to sell. Is it great? Does it solve the problem of that user? Is it use the user experience? How is it? I don't really care about how it looks, aesthetics, but then how easy is how smooth is it for this person or these people to use. If they're going to have issues using it, then it's not a good product to sell, and there are going to be issues in, I mean, because it's going to be much more difficult to convince people, to convince the communities, or to convince the, for example, I am talking to one person, and there are times where you could have multiplier effects from talking to just one person, and the person says, oh, I will talk to this person, I'll talk to that person, I'll talk to, before you know it, one person could speak to 20 people, and then removes the stress of you going through those 20 people one after the other, because you've been able to meet the need of that person. Because at the end of the day, one person has a need. He or she knows who has another need. And maybe they're friends. They've been talking. My friend told me he or she needs something to manage their finances, to manage savings, because every other product that's available is not meeting the need they want. Then that other person will know, oh, I have a colleague at work. And before you know it, it spreads for you. So making sure that the product solves the problem itself, that is made, that was that you wanted it to solve, and you're able to meet the need of the audience or the market or the customers that you're trying to sell to, is very, very important. So identifying the pain point of the customers, the people, the users is very, very important, because at the end of the day, if they cannot relate with what you're pitching to them, the technology might be great. You might convince yourself, or the organization might convince you, or you might come, oh, well, build something great. It has a lot of complexities, but if it is not great, with, if you yourself, you try to use it and you don't find it satisfactory, there is a possibility that, because you're human, there's somebody that probably has a very near personality with you. What if you meet that person, or you meet somebody that is almost as critical as you, or that probably thinks like you to a very reasonable extent? Because we're humans, we're dynamic, but then there's somebody somewhere that has a very, very close personality with us. So if you meet that person and the person doesn't like it, then it means he or she will tell two other people, when they probably tell, I found this thing and I think it is going to be a great product. And no, I don't think it's great, because when I try to use it, it is not good. So that means it is spoiling, like they say, bad markets, creating bad market. So thinking about, for customers on a larger scale, you want to make sure that you meet them at the very point of their need. Then you go down to a lot of other factors could be involved: the buying and the purchasing power of that audience, the or that market, how easy it is to find them or to access them or whatnot. But then the most important thing is research. So I promised I was going to talk about B2B, what it means entirely. So B2B is basically when you say there is a company A, and there's company B. Comfort already talked about that a little bit while we started this conversation. Company A and company B, as I mean, there's a company, let's say, okay, a typical example. Um, could be consulting companies or consulting firms, but then maybe moving away from there, let's look at technology companies. So maybe there's a technology company that is building a SaaS product, that's a software as a service. Just for those that may not know, a software as a service is something that is you can use on your computer, you can use on your mobile phone or whatnot. So they're building a software as a service for other businesses to manage how they pay their customers, or I mean how they pay their employees rather. That's a B2B service, because when you're going to be onboarding people or onboarding users, you are going to be approaching the owner of one company, or the CEO of one company, or the person that leads operations, or the person that is the CEO of that company, for them to, so you're onboarding the company itself might bring 200 employees, 300 employees eventually, but you're onboarding one company, one organization as a whole. So that is what a B2B means, and that is what it looks like. So I hope that that's simple enough, or that kind of gives some more perspective to what B2B might be. So I've talked about the most important thing for me on how I've been able to build, um, um, how I've been able to execute deals or sell products or whatnot, and which is research. Then the other part is partnerships. I think I've looked at it a little bit. I've talked about that a little bit, but I think the the other thing I probably want to say about partnership is that for us as individuals, you as a revenue and growth professional, it is very, very important. It is very, very key that you understand that humans have feelings, have emotions. Put yourself in the position, or put yourself where that person should. If you're going to be, if it's B2B product, make sure that you eliminate every loopholes before you have that conversation, which is where research is very, very important. You can do research, do LinkedIn. If you're looking for contacts, you can do a lot. There are a lot of tools. You can use Apollo, you can use Visa, you can use Contact Out, you can use, there are a lot of research tools that you can use, that you can use for prospecting, that you can use for to set your sequence and whatnot. I think we are probably, a lot of us have that idea. But if you don't have, if you don't understand those processes, I think there's a, after I'm done in a few minutes now, you can ask questions. So I could explain a little bit on what those mean, or what that would mean. But then I want to believe that a number of us, we already know what that means. So um, you're using those tools, which is great. You do research. You can. I personally go as far as, I sometimes I look at traffic. If I'm going to be speaking with a tech startup, for example, or an organization, I go as far as using similar web to look at their traffic, their ranking. I look at their traffic. How many users are they getting in? I mean, how many visitors are they getting in their website, for example, in a month? And what's their bounce rate? I look at some of those details before I have that conversation with them. So, but then putting yourself in the shoe of the CEO you're going to speak with, the COO you're going to speak with, or the head of operations that you're going to say, hey, connect me with your CEO. Put yourself in their shoes. What might they be doing now? You might want to sell a product, or you might want to pitch a product that helps them manage payroll, for example, but then they have a payroll already. So because you want to partner with them, you look at it from their own perspective. They must be using something now. What are they using? It's either they're using a spreadsheet, or they're using another tool entirely. Maybe they're using another SaaS product. But then you look at it from their own perspective. What the solution they're using now, how well does it serve them? If I was the person, or if you were the person, do you think it is going to be sufficient enough? Then you now look at it. How do I approach this conversation? How do I coin the words so that it fits directly into what they would need, or what I would need if it was the other way around? So, for example, they might be using spreadsheet to manage payroll, which is great. But then it means they have to impute manually. They have to do this. Sometimes they might have done all of the calculations and they set their spreadsheet to just impute numbers. But then your product might be that you can automatically set it up that it just does, as long as you put money into it, it just does every other thing for you, because you have done the preset. But spreadsheet cannot do that, because you need to, so after you have done, this is how much this person is going to pay. The person missed, didn't come to work for 2 days, so we need to deduct those 2 days. Then it gives us this on the average, and blah blah blah. And then we not take that, we create a pay slip. After creating a pay slip, then we go ahead to make payments. That might be how they're doing it already. So you want to look at, put yourself in their shoes. Is that more efficient for them? If it is, why is it more efficient for them? Maybe it is better for them for transparency or whatnot. You look at every possible, so that when you're speaking with the person, the founder, the CEO, the COO, or their leadership team, when they ask you those questions, you have answers to almost all of the questions that they might have. Then for customers too, if it's a B2C product, or if it's a B2M, B2Many, whatnot, you talk to them. Hey, you talk to yourself. You look at it from their own perspective. If they are going to be selling this product to me, imagine the person I'm meeting with tomorrow, or I just meet randomly on the road. The person is going to sell that product to me. How would I feel about this product? So will I have a need for it? Which also goes down to, when you're prospecting, when you're finding the right target market, the right target audience, the people, I mean, the putting them in that, putting yourself in that probably in an assumed state of mind that will I need this or will they need it? If they will need it, what would they need it for? And if they need it for this, what have they used before? And if they have used this before, what is making them not satisfied with what you're using right now? Um, how was their experience like? If I was the one, so you do research, you look at other competition, you look at, hey, because you want to be able to, it's just very similar to this football banter that happened during the AFCON, where a lot of countries said before they can even attack Nigerians, this is just me using this analogy now, before you can say you're going into a banter with Nigerians, they first of all go ahead to wash themselves. They tell you all of their problems. They tell you this is what we're facing. We know that this is it. Then they come back to banter you, because at the end of the day, it is impossible for you to say, I mean, they have little or no loopholes for you to exploit anymore. So you want to put yourself in their shoes to make sure that before the customer or that person, your prospect, asks you all those questions, you've asked yourself all of those questions, all of the possible questions, you have answers to them. So when you're having conversations with them, it's just straight and it's easier for you to um, convince them to buy into what you want to buy into. So I think I've spoken for about 50 minutes now, and I want to believe that I've been able to reasonable cover what I was going to talk about today, trying to see if there's anything else I left out as per the topic or the focus. So we're supposed to talk about techniques of finding and qualifying potential B2B clients into the tech industry. And I think I already touched on B2C and B2M as well. So, but then I think we've been able to do a lot of justice to B2B sales, so prospecting and lead generation. For the strategy, I want to believe that I was able to share a lot, some details as to how I've been able to find or generate leads by my own personal strategy, how I probably approach things. But if you have questions, if probably you believe there are some things you are not clear about, please you can just go by a raise of hand and you can ask your questions. You can type or you can unmute your mic and then go ahead to ask a question. Or if there's something you want to add, you believe um, I probably missed out, please go ahead and unmute your mic. Let's have some conversations, and then I think it will be very helpful to hear from others as well. So um, I'm looking at, let me see, anybody with any question, please, you can, okay, please go ahead. Jude, you can go ahead. If you have any question, you can raise your hand as well while Jude is speaking, and you can also type if you prefer to type. Please go ahead. Share or mute your mic and go ahead. Thank you.
Israel, good evening. Thank you for this awesome session. I work in
Good
the fintech
evening. Thank
space,
you.
in the bus
Okay.
especially. So exactly, I want
Okay.
to. I use Y Combinators and tech starters as tools in generating leads, prospects.
Okay.
But
Mm,
coming to
yeah.
SaaS, that's the software as a service, you mentioned Apollo. Can
Yeah.
you please talk me
Yeah.
about those tools, Apollo and other tools, and how to actually use them in getting leads? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for the question. If there's anyone else with a question, you can also raise your hand so that once I'm done with this, you can go right after. I think it's best we just do answer the questions as they come. So for Apollo, well, Apollo could be useful even for BAS. It could be useful for literally everything. I think for me, I see research or prospecting or even contact generation, or so to say by extension lead generation. I see it first as an action that must start with you as an individual, because I always look at it. There were times where we didn't have all of these tools, where there were, I mean, Apollo was not there, where there was no Y Combinator, there was no Wizard, there was none of this contact out and whatnot. But then we were able to, I mean, people that started way back, They were able to probably people that did this as far back as 20 years ago when I had not started my career. Maybe people that started 30 years ago, they found a way around finding deals, or they were able to generate leads no matter what. So MailChimp started in the 1990s, I think, and I mean 90 somethings, right? So 90s rather, sorry. And then yeah, I want to believe they started in 90s. So MailChimp, even Microsoft and etc., they started in those years. But then they were able to, because some like MailChimp, for example, is not just a B2B, it's B2C, even the same as Microsoft, and although they have some sections that are B2B. But what I'm trying to say essentially is the process starts with us as humans, us as the professionals. If we understand what we want to achieve, if we understand what we want to, I'm going to talk about how Apollo works or what it doesn't do. If we understand what we set, the goals we have for this lead generation process, for example, it helps us, it makes it easier to work with any tool at all. So for me, I personally do not use, although I have a team, at least across all of the organizations that I work, there are teams that do that a lot of time they help out with um, research and whatnot. But then I think for tools to be effective, to be very, very effective, um, the most important thing is what you're looking for. You can combine a lot of things. You can combine even more than one tool for, even if it is SaaS. For example, if it's for SaaS, you're looking for you're looking for um, contacts, emails. You can use, for example, you can use Apollo to find contacts. You can use to qualify your leads. You can use to schedule meetings. You can use it to send emails that set up your sequence and etc. Apollo allows you to do all of those things. But before you can do that, you probably might also want to do a few other things. Like, for example, there's B2B int that allows you to find, say, you can say by so and so industry, because you're talking about SaaS now. So let's say it's a payroll product that you're looking to. So you want to say, I want to approach companies in I want to believe that you can still hear me though. I want to approach companies in the fintech industry, for example, and I want to pitch this payment or payroll product to them. So if I am approaching organizations, please let me know if you can hear me. Can you hear me?
Yes, please go ahead.
No, it's very faint.
Okay, okay. You can. Did you say it's my voice is going faint?
It's audible from my end.
Okay, okay. Thank you very much. So think I lost my thread, my train of thought, but then trying to find it back. So I think I was saying that you want to combine maybe a number of tools. For example, you can use B2B int, you can use Crunchbase. Yes, so you can even use VC4A. I don't know if you know VC4A, but you can just Google search VC4A. There are loads of companies that are on VC4A right now. So all you need to do is you just sign up, you create an account. You can find details about, so maybe you search by industry that you want to focus on. So you do, so say for example, you want to get a directory or somewhat like a compilation of companies in the fintech space that you want to sell your product or you want to pitch your products to. You can just go through maybe B2B, B2B ints or VC4A or Crunchbase. Crunchbase is very, very useful for that. So you can search by the industry, although Crunchbase is paid, but VC4A is not paid. I think B2B int is free as well. So you can use all of those. You can search for the industry, or you maybe simple. A simple Google search can just help you find like a lot of companies in that space, then you go to LinkedIn. It's somewhat of a long process, but it is worth it when you know the people you're approaching, especially SaaS, BaaS or whatnot. So you go to LinkedIn. If you're searching for a company on LinkedIn, LinkedIn automatically gives you a suggestion of similar companies. So before you know it, you are into a rabbit hole, and then you can have about 100 companies on your list in maybe in 4 hours or 5 hours, and you could have just, hey, this at all of the companies in this ecosystem, or in this area, or this industry, fintech, prop tech or whatnot, and then you can move on to other tools like Apollo. So Apollo is more like all inclusive. So one of the reasons why I use Apollo, my team uses Apollo. This is not a paid ad for Apollo, anyways. But then I think this speaks to the fact where I was saying that if the product actually meets the need of the customer or the target audience, you word of mouth is very, very good. So imagine we're in this session now and I am talking about a product that I'm not even being paid for. That's the power of it actually fulfilling the purpose or the value. Is giving me value of giving everybody that I know value. So Apollo is like almost the only sales platform that has everything you need to find. So you want to find contacts, you want to do emails, you want to do calls, although some part of it you pay for them. You pay, but then you can get some free credits. Whilst you register, so you can use it to close your close ideal customers, and all of this is just in one place. So you can use it to manage almost everything, almost similar to HubSpot, just that HubSpot does not offer you, give you that value where you can use it to find contacts. So you go to Apollo, you can, so if after you've done all of your research, maybe using VC4A, please, if you need to note that down, you can note that down. VC4A, B2B ends, LinkedIn, Crunchbase, after you've done all of those, you can pick their names. This is the person who is in charge of, or is the founder of so and so company. You go to Apollo, for example, input the name of the person you're looking for, contact details that they have in their database comes up. Even VC4A, you can find the contact details there, because I think there's another one, if I can't remember now. There are quite a number of them that I've used. When I remember, during this call, I would mention it. If I don't, I will probably get the team to send that to the community, or I could make a list of useful tools that I've used. I think I could do that. So useful tools that I've used in the time past, share that with the team so that you can get it in the community. So hopefully that will be valuable to everybody. So Apollo kind of helps you. I think, okay, I was talking about VC4A. So you can go to VC4A when you're searching for those organizations that are registered on VC4A, for example, because a lot of them are looking for funds, and you can get funding or get people to notice you or whatnot on VC4A, yeah, by having a profile there. So the founders that have profiles there, you can find their email address, their contact details, so you can reach out to them. I think even VC4A allows you to do a private chat. You can reach out to them through VC4A. So, but if you're unable to do that, just the name of the founder, you take it from there, you put it in any of these tools, maybe for example, Apollo. It allows you to get all of their contact details, their email addresses particularly, which is much like more like the most important thing, because I have a personal principle against doing cold calls. I prefer doing most cold emails, or I go through introduction. So if I know somebody that is in my network that knows this other person, it's best that I do, hey, could you help me? Could you do an introduction for me? Because I find it more easier. The person would tell, oh, you know this person, you're coming through this person. Okay, let's have a conversation. That's usually much more, because everybody's security conscious these days. You don't want to bug people with a lot of I got your number from this and that, and you do a lot of explanation, and like they say, you explain a spare tire. So you don't want to do all of those. So if it's possible to find somebody that knows that within your network that can do a referral, or that can do an introduction for you, perfect, that would be great. But then you could do an email reach out. So If you're doing an email reach out, Apollo can help you do that. It can also help you do your qualifying your leads. So, say for example, you can do all of your segmentations on Apollo. So you probably say for the fintech industry, then you do, hey, this people, these are new leads. After this, then you set your sequence. So maybe two or three people respond back to you. Maybe through after you've done your cold emails, and then I think it is important to note that or to mention that this is not a push against AI. I know everybody loves AI. AI is super effective in helping making sure that things are efficient. But I, like I said, I am sharing my personal perspectives on how things have been able to work for me. I found it more useful when people I am reaching out to are able to connect with me directly by my own tone. There is an human tone that you have in every email, every conversation that AI cannot have. May not, as much as we say it can, you can use this prompt and it can give you something, but then there is something because in we have to always note that. I'm sorry, I'm digressing a little bit. I just felt I should cover this. We have to note that this is part of B2B prospecting and whatnot. It's important that we note this as well. So when you are when you're reaching out to somebody, um, you have to understand that in revenue and growth, in business development, partnerships, and etc., we have to understand that we are dealing with emotions. We're dealing with humans. So humans connect with you based on the energy and the vibe you give off. If you're a very exciting person, in fact, there was a conversation with somebody at some point, and the person was like, "Oh, that person, I found it difficult to have it." And this person was looking to close a deal, and they were like, "I didn't like his vibe. It was so dull. It was not energetic. And I am an energetic person and I want somebody that can match my energy." And then you'd be like, that's not important. But then when you're looking to close a deal, everything is important. If your client likes to talk about football, it has happened to me. I am not so much of that person that does football a lot. But then when there were times where my clients would want to talk about football because that client is valuable to me, not just the deal, but the client, having a connection with that client is very valuable to me because, like I said, it could create a very huge multiplier effect where one client could talk to two or three other people. It has happened for me personally. And then one client is bringing deals worth $60,000, $100,000 for you at the end of the day. So if you're unable to connect with that person, you don't build a personal relationship, which is where I say partnerships is, I mean, thinking of everything for me as partnership is very important. Sorry, I digress. Now let us go back. So I was talking about emails and how it is great that we have personal and human touch in it. So everybody will connect with you if you are speaking to them as humans, not that, oh, it is very, very robotic. So Apollo can allow you do your sequencing, which is very great. Can allow you qualify the leads. So after you have gotten, maybe you let's say you ran ads, you put the contacts here. You can use Apollo to probably do segmentations and filter. Oh, these ones have responded, these ones have not. These people are reaching out back to me. You can have communications with them, probably send emails and whatnot. You can also you book appointments, or you can use Apollo to, so say for example somebody can connect with your ideal buyers by doing research, searching for their contact details. And then also you can connect with LinkedIn. I think I already mentioned that. And yeah, so I hope that that answers your question. I'm sorry I over explained. I just have the habit of wanting to make everything simple. So I hope I was able to explain, Jude, and you understand.
Yes, that was quite extensive. Thank you so much. I hope you will drop
You're welcome.
the tools
Yes,
that
I
you
will.
mentioned.
Yes, I will. I
All right,
will,
thank
most
you.
definitely.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So let's see. Do we have any other question from any other person? Please feel free to raise your hand. We can. Let me see if anybody typed any message. Um, oh, David could not hear me again. Okay. Um, yeah. So David is saying, um, I'm avoiding to pronounce your other name. I don't know if that's your own first name. If it is, I'm sorry. I think I'm more comfortable pronouncing David. So, you're asking if we can get the tools for B2B and B2C. Absolutely, I will do that. I'll share that with the team, and the team will share that with you. um, oh, okay. Oh, someone passed their license exam. That's great. Congratulations to the person. All right. Okay, so I don't think we have any more questions from everybody. So it's been great. Thank you very much, everyone, for the opportunity to have this conversation of this session today. I think we're going to have another session tomorrow, and I look forward to further having some engaging sessions with all of us as we continue. Thank you very much, and have a great evening. Over to you, Ms. Comfort. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Israel. Thank you so much, Israel. And it's quite surprising that everyone don't have a question, but I believe because we're all experts, so we're all experts. We're all senior, we have senior sales executives and tech experts here. I know Peter, DK, Feishayo, and David. They're all senior executives, so no question. So I'm sure that. But as we go, probably you're preparing yourself for tomorrow for the buyer behavior. That is a very, very important aspect of sales. And I think by the time we get to the sales behavior class, you really get more understanding about what Israel said today, because everything he said is really solid, and it's not just something. And I love the approach, the fact that he took it from a personal experience. It's something that really makes it very genuine and not just theoretical, because a lot of people have attended a lot of conferences, a lot of seminars, and I have worked um, and led salespeople. And I know that some people will just know theories, but when it comes to the real life experience, they don't really have that. And so a salesman like that, it's not what you're learning, what you learn sometimes in some classes, and not sometimes some of them are not even applicable to real life situations, right? So that's why I really love the fact that I take it from a personal approach. And this is someone that has actually applied everything that he has said today and is really working. Today we've closed a couple of B2B clients, and that's basically from applying these things that he he has said. So bringing Israel to talk to you all is something that really, really was quite difficult, because he's been up since, let's say, I think 4 a.m. or so, working, and then we've had meetings all throughout the day, and we're from one meeting and then to the class now. So and it's really a privilege, and thank you so much, Israel, for pouring out your heart. And I love the fact that you take your time to really explain things. That's a really good one. It makes it very, very simple for everyone to understand, even if you do not know what sales is, because I know that everyone here might not have the same experience. So I love the fact that you were able to explain it even to people who are senior executives and those who do not even understand what sales is. So your explanation and every single thing, your approach was excellent. I wasn't expecting this though. I was expecting the number slide. I was like, what, where is slide? I'm not seeing any deck. What's happening? But it's been a good one. It's been a good one. And I can't wait for tomorrow's session. And we have a lot of things in store. So you've seen a lot of people that have real life experience like Israel. So I'm not going to bring people who are just the theoretical people. I don't like so much. I don't like people who just talk. So I want people that have actually done it. So there are a lot of people in the industry that you see them, they are marketers, but they call themselves salespeople, right? So they're marketing themselves, but not really doing the core sales, right? So like they're not doing the core sales like Peter and DK and Israel. So I keep mentioning Peter because those are the two names that stuck with me since the first induction. To the induction ceremony. So please, I can't wait for you to experience these other sections next tomorrow. And also, please, if you can leave your feedback as well, feedback in the group as well, and also encourage other members of the group to join the sessions, because you don't want to be the only one benefiting from all of this. So I don't know if there's if anyone have any question right now before we call it a wrap, because